Hi, I'm David Strickel, creator of the TYA Mindset Practice, and I want to talk today about the concept of good and evil, the concept of God versus Satan or demonic entities. We hear these things, and of course, there are examples of the polarity that exists in a physical environment. And if you read the book, the TYA Practice, have to plug the book right away. If you read the TYA Practice, you will come to really understand why polarity exists and why it must exist. Because polarity is the driver of all new creation. If we existed the way that we do in our eternal state of being, which is as a being of source, essentially the source of all creation, the source of all love and goodness and light, the most powerful entity and energy that is the universe and continues to create and expand the universe. We are that eternally, and there is no polarity impacting that except for the expansion that it receives from it as a result of manifesting in physical. I know that might sound a little confusing, but again, if you get the book and read the book, you'll absolutely come to understand it on a higher level if you don't already. So the concept of good and evil, it's easy to understand how humanity comes up with these ideas because we are very polarized in this environment. And the more uh, in the matrix we are, so to speak, the more polarized our behavior becomes. The more we have to be right, and therefore everyone who doesn't agree with us has to be wrong. The more we need validation externally from others to prop up our beliefs, essentially. But I have to say, how much faith do you have in your beliefs if you need validation from others? I've always questioned that. I questioned that when I was a child in church. And the reason that we come up with this concept of negative or demonic beings or evil or any of those things, the way that we label low vibration, is because we want to explain away humanity's bad behavior when we're harming each other, when we're just nasty, negative, complaining beings, and we all see that around us a lot. It's out there. If you go looking for it at all, you'll find it. Of course, if you are focused on love and light and high vibrational states of being, you're not going to see as much of that. But even though that's my primary focus, to be above neutral on my spiral all the time, or if at all possible, I'm still aware of the hyperpolarity that humanity is experiencing right now. But the low vibration stuff, and we all go there, we all experience low vibration. We came here to experience low vibration. And it's sort of an easy out to say, well, that's a demon possessing me, that's making me behave this way, or that person is possessed by a demon, or they need to know God. And there's some truth behind that, because what's really behind all that is they would need to operate in a higher vibration when they're acting out, when they're really negative and nasty. And we all know when we're there, and we go there. When we get triggered down our spiral, we go there. We are a different being down below neutral in that spiral than we are when we're up. So we all go there from time to time. Of course, we don't necessarily go there all the time, and we're aware that people sort of reside there. And if you look how much fear mongering there is in media, social media, of course. Gosh, I don't go on Facebook very often, but when I do, I start flipping and I see a couple of things from people that, I know, and somebody I went to high school with is having a grandchild. I'm getting that old now. Or, something's going on that's positive. And then all of a sudden, there's some hyper polarizing post, and it's becoming very popular on social media platforms to post these hyper polarizing opinions, because they know it's going to get a lot of traction, and then that's going to give a lot of traction to their page, and that's what they're looking for. And sometimes it's the oddest thing. If you've noticed this, if you're on Facebook still, it'll be something about old time recipes, and suddenly it's this political thing that they're posting, and I'm like, okay, this is not about old time recipes at all. This is something about Trump versus Biden or something like that. And then there's 20,000 comments, and it's all this: I'm right and you're wrong, and you're wrong and I'm right. And it's funny how infectious that negativity is, and how people want to go and just exist in that low vibrational place. But it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good to me to be down there. And I can't imagine, in my lifetime, have never parked myself in low vibe. I think I knew enough early on that what I saw going around me, my mother was definitely parked in low vibration. And I think that was one of the greatest gifts she ever gave me, was bearing witness to her low vibrational existence, and understanding I don't want to be that. I don't want to turn out like that. And that was one of the greatest things she did for me, was showing me what I didn't want to be. And so seeing that, I understood law of attraction. I understood that you get what you think about, in a very basic way. And that's how I've lived my life. And that really, paying attention to that inner knowing, is what we now call the stream. And the stream is pure positive energy. The stream is appreciation of all things. And really, the stream is very simplistic because of that. That's why, when I used to trans channel and people would come and ask, questions directly to the stream, the answer was always very predictable. It was always good. And sometimes there was a path to it that actually provided a lot of clarity for me and for the people that were listening. And so I'm not saying I'm never going to do that again, but I've taken a break from it this year. And I've really been able to reflect in this past year of, yeah, that message is really just appreciation of all that is. No opinion about what we should be doing. Guidance, because we're extracting that guidance from them, but no opinion of you need to do this or you must do this. The guidance that is offered is always, if you want to allow well-being to flow, if that's your intention, this is the path there. And what those of us that have practiced TYA, the belief system, the operating system that they have delivered to us, does that for us. Those 4 pillars of the TYA practice, understanding that appreciation of all things is source. And so a practice of active appreciation is one of the 4 pillars of TYA, because that raises our vibration. That gets us out of that lower vibrational field where all of the negative stuff resides. And it's important to understand that that low vibrational field, you are not, and I know a lot of spiritual people believe this, but I have great clarity around this, I think. And this, I'm just sharing my opinion with you. You're certainly free to believe anything you want. But in my opinion, the low vibrational place, you're not lowering your vibration and opening yourself up to some negative external energy coming in. There's no dark energy or demon that's coming to infiltrate your being and cause you to do negative things or think negative thoughts. What it is simply separation from source. That's all it is. And that's all it takes. Separation from source can start wars. We know that. But it's just separation from source. There is no demonic, evil, negative, dark energy in the universe. There is simply a lower vibrational state of being that separates a physical being from the source of all creation. That's it. And in that lower vibrational state, we do things that in our higher vibrational state, we regret, we're embarrassed about, we feel bad that we did that. And now we know that that's just low vibrational behavior. And having that awareness actually doesn't just excuse our low vibrational behavior. That's not what it's about. But it makes me understand it better, and it makes me recognize it at the onset. Because remember, everything is vibrational. So vibration is all about creating momentum. So when you are down your spiral and you don't even know it, and sometimes we don't think about where we are all the time. I'm pretty aware of it, but not always. That first little ping of negativity, that first little trigger, that first little negative thought, that first little, I think the stream of the past has said, that first little bump in the wall, the first little unwanted thing that happens is the universe supplying a little warning sign for you that, hey, you may want to know that you're down there. Do with that what you want. There's no judgment from the universe, but this is a lovely little warning system we have that I'm not where I want to be vibrationally right now. If I'm observing this, or if I'm feeling this way, or thinking this way, or if I'm driven, if something is angering me, if I go to open a drawer and it's stuck and my reaction is, come on, I know, oh, wait a minute, this wouldn't even be happening, first of all, if I wasn't a bit down my spiral. That just doesn't happen when you're down your spiral. Simple things like that, as simplistic as that sounds, that just doesn't occur. Everything works out when you're up your spiral. But okay, I'm down. I have this little bit of a challenge. It's a simple challenge to solve. I just need to figure out what's blocking the drawer and get it open. But if I'm angry and I'm pulling and I'm, this shouldn't be, that's a whole different experience than saying, oh, look at me, I'm DTS. That won't work right now. It's not an emergency. It's not life-threatening that the drawer won't open. I'm going to step aside, take a quick breath, raise my vibration in the moment, and then I'm going to have the solution to this problem. I have never, ever, ever, ever had that fail. It works 100% of the time. raise your vibration, then return to whatever you're wanting to solve, and generally it solves itself, or the solution is going to come to you magically. The only time we get tripped up is when we need the solution. All right, I'll raise my vibe. This better damn well work this time. Well, you're not really up where you think you are when you're thinking like that. It's just, I don't really care whether the door opens or not now. I'm happy. Everything's good. I'm in a good place. I'm enjoying what I'm doing right now. I'm enjoying just being. And I have to tell you that the joy in being for me is so powerful and so magical and cannot be replaced with an external experience. I find that when I find myself in a state of joy just in being, doing the everyday mundane routine stuff that you do day in and day out, when you learn to really love and appreciate and be in a state of joy for that, then all of a sudden all these other things start flowing into your life that really elevate your vibration. I've had so many magical experiences come to me as I've continually raised my default vibration. And suddenly I'm in this experience where I'm like, wow, this is amazing that I'm getting to experience this. What's next? If I keep raising my default vibration, I can't wait to see what's next. I can't wait for the next level of clarity. But the path to that is not needing that next big thing. It's learning to really love and appreciate and celebrate just being alive, being exactly where you are, how you are, and who you are. That's the key. And of course, we live in this matrix that constantly tells us you've got to be younger, you've got to be thinner, you've got to be richer, your hair's not supposed to be that color, you can't age, you can't gain weight, you can't have any kind of you're supposed to be young and beautiful and rich and famous, and that's all that has value. But most of us that practice this know that you can find authentic joy just in a state of being when you release all of that judgment and all of that expectation of what the matrix tells us we're supposed to be. That's what TYA is all about. TYA is not about crushing life and having the most Lamborghinis and having the hottest body and aging in reverse and all these things that media shows us that we're supposed to be doing, that celebrities are doing. That's not where true happiness is at all. And you can certainly choose any of those things. Source is not saying it's wrong to want a fleet of Lamborghinis, or it's wrong to want a yacht, or it's wrong to want to go get Botox or anything like that. It's not about that. You can choose anything that you want to choose, but understand that pursuit of the matrix version of perfection, believing it's going to make you happy, is misguided. Because generally, if we think that thing is what's going to make us happy and we're not already happy in our now, we're always going to be chasing that moving target. I've experienced that in my life. I have gone through major body transformation, major weight loss. I've gone through major muscle gain and having the physique that I thought I was supposed to have. I've gone through wealth building and buying the big house and the fancy new car and the big vacations. I've done all of those things. I've manifested every single one of those things. And I've arrived there and I appreciated it. I enjoyed it for the experience that it was, but still something was missing. And I know that a lot of people get on that crushing life matrix 3D train and they get to that next place and it's okay and they like it and they think, gosh, I need more. The only way I'm going to truly fill that void that I feel inside me, that void of really source connection and just loving everything that is to have more. I need to have a bigger house and buy another company, and I need to have multiple homes, and I need to have a bigger yacht. I've got to have more. And it's just never ending pursuit of the material. And it's an experience. There's nothing wrong with having that experience. There's nothing wrong with Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk being what they are any more than there's anything wrong with the person that's a drug addict, homeless, overdosing in the gutter and having that experience. Source is loving all of it. All of it. Look at these expressions of that which we are having this physical polarized experience. This expression has had the experience of being a homeless drug addict. And now that new experience has expanded consciousness. This being is now having the experience of being one of the wealthiest people in the world and having all of this power and everyone hanging on their every word. And they've had that experience, and that is expanded consciousness. The same. Now, the Matrix doesn't view it the same. The Matrix says, billionaire good, drug addict and gutter bad, but that's polarized. That's all physical thinking. That is all what I would call a below neutral, level of vibration, thinking that you've got to crush life to have an expansive experience. Now, do I want to persuade anyone to become a drug addict and homeless? Of course not. I want well-being to flow, but I don't know that being a billionaire is any uh, better version of well-being, because I'm not one. Any better version of well-being than where I am right now, just geeking out on this information that we all have of, gosh, this is the secret to the universe, and I fully believe it. And I am completely in this vibration, this belief system that we call TYA, of really loving every day of my life and understanding when I'm down, and what changes that and what solves that if I want to solve it, understanding the value of going down, understanding that there is no evil, dark entity out there impacting me. I went through a time where I believed that something of that nature. And I had, if you've read my first book, where I talk about living in what I would now call a haunted house. We had all this stuff going on in the house that was supernatural in nature. And of course, people that don't buy into that and have that belief system tend to not have those experiences. And here I was going deep into, what is the energetic realm at that time, and exploring the energetic realm. I was being visited by, these apparitions and things. And I don't think I was, suffering from any type of insanity at the time, but I would wake up in a very, clear state of being, and there would be a physical being present with me that would not last, and it would dissipate. Or I would have these weird noises in the house. And one time we had these black crows that kept flying into the window and dying, and chandeliers falling from the ceiling. It was insane, until I realized, maybe the call is coming from inside the house. Maybe our focus on all this creepy stuff is creating it. And sure enough, we brought a friend over who helped us do a little blessing and a prayer, and we did an incense all over the house and did all of this stuff. And I knew enough at that time to choose to give that power. We gave that power, and it completely dissipated, just stopped. All of that activity just stopped, which made me realize there isn't some evil force infiltrating my energetic field. It was all my creation. We were hyper focused on all that stuff and watching horror movies. And, I was going to psychics at the time and reading a lot of supernatural books. And what is the energetic realm? I was really trying to understand the messages that were coming from inside, and understanding the magic that I could create in my life. And then I realized that my understanding came around to, all of that stuff is self-created, as everything is. Our consciousness is creating our reality, period. So whatever we're focusing on is what we're getting. So what I focus on now is just loving whatever experience I'm flowing through, and expanding in the experience. I was talking to a neighbor recently, and I was telling them, just casual conversation, and of course, since they're neighbors, the house that burned down, of course, is still a subject of discussion in our neighborhood, because it's a house that's half burned down with a fence around it that's been sitting that way for almost a year. So the house burned down, and Michael's mother died, and then this year my father died, and then I had back surgery. And I'm sitting there just kind of casually talking about stuff that's going on. And they're like, "Oh my God, your life." And I'm like, "Wait a minute. I don't think my life is horrible at all. These are just experiences that I've had. And every experience that I have expands my consciousness." I went into, I knew my father was going to die at some point. I actually had a lovely experience going back to his service and seeing how appreciated he was by his community, and seeing my family and getting everyone together like we hadn't in years. That was a wonderful experience for me. The surgery was a wonderful experience for me. The recovery was absolutely a wonderful experience for me. These things are all good. The matrix tells us they're bad and they shouldn't be, but people have back problems and have surgery. Your parents pass away, usually before you. And these are just things that happen. And I don't look at any of that and say, well, gosh, I'm not going to practice TYA because David, created TYA and all these bad things happen in his life. It's not about stopping the stuff that the matrix tells you is bad. It's about coming to understand that all of the stuff that happens in our life is not bad at all. It's an expansion of consciousness, and it's why we're here. And it's how you live a freaking amazing life every single day of your life, regardless of what experience you're moving through. So I hope I offered something of value today. I guess I need to turn on the comments because I see there's some people watching live. Thanks for catching the live. I always appreciate that. I hope you have your copy of the TYA Practice available now on Amazon. Still number one in New Age, which is fantastic. The sales are going really, really well. We have some great reviews on the book so far. So I'm just really excited about the results that we've seen. Starting in January, I'm going to be out doing a lot more podcasts and a lot more guest appearances. I'm really not doing a whole lot right now other than the stuff for our Patreon community and the podcast, and taking it easy through the end of the year just because I'm recovering from the surgery. But January, I'm really going to start hitting it again and get out there and really start sharing this message with people who are aligned with it. So I'm really, really excited about that. And to wrap up the conversation about high and low vibration, which was my intention when I started, is really just understanding that low vibration is not demonic or evil, and there's nothing that's possessing you. It's you. You are separating yourself from source consciousness. You're separating yourself from well-being, but you're going down there for a reason. You're going down there to manifest some challenges for yourself. And the sooner and the faster you come to understand what vibrational flow is all about and how that low vibrational flow is just a state of being that you don't have to stay in, and recognizing it at the onset, then you're going to start moving yourself up the virtual vibrational spiral as a default, meaning you're all the time, every day, general vibration is just going to go higher and higher and higher the more you just notice. Because the first pillar of TYA is appreciation. The second pillar is polarity. Understanding polarity, understanding vibrational flow, understanding what our polarized world is all about, and really systematically raising your vibration to allow the third pillar, which is source. And I understand that appreciation and source are essentially the same thing, but we thought it was very important to really point out how valuable appreciation of all things is. And then, of course, source is just more about not actively appreciating or actively doing anything, but source is more about the meditation practice that we do, where we simply clear our mind, breathe, and allow source just to be, because it's always there. We don't have to go find it somewhere. It's always there. We just have to quiet the ego that overshadows it within us. And when we do that, it naturally comes back. And that's the third pillar of the practice. And of course, the fourth is intention. Having an intention for what it is that you want to experience, because you can have any intention that you want. Source is not judging the intentions that you have for your life. Your intentions will probably evolve over time. My intentions these days, the things that I prefer, are very different than they were just a few years ago. I have moved through all these experiences, and I have come to the other side of understanding. I believe when I got my default vibration above neutral, it was no longer about the crushing of life and the crushing of business and the crushing of fitness and all of that stuff. It really is about just loving what is in the moment, allowing well-being to flow. And the flow of well-being from source is not identical to the concept of well-being in the matrix. And we have to remember that. But really, it all comes down to, how do you feel? Are you loving yourself? Are you loving your life? Are you loving every day? Are you finding things to appreciate naturally in your day? If you are having that experience, you're having a pretty damn good life. And that's what I want to help everyone that wants to go there. I want to help them find that. And that's why the TYA practice exists. And that's what it's all about. So again, thank you all for watching, whether you're watching it live or on the recording. Go ahead and comment wherever you're watching this, so that I can hear from you. I love hearing your comments and your thoughts and your questions. And if any of this is confusing or doesn't make sense, and the book isn't even answering it, well, the book will answer it. That's why the book is so thick. It's got a lot of information in it. And I am really recommending to everybody. I know there's a Kindle version, and I was a Kindle person for a while. I'm kind of going back old school now. I think I'm doing a lot of hardcover books. I'm rebuilding my physical library in the new house. And we have a hardcover. It takes a long time to get, and you can certainly order that. But I recommend, for most people, get the paperback, because I think it's going to be a living workbook for you that you want to be able to flip back to and dog ear and make notes in, and keep pages tabbed and things like that. I think the paperback is the way to go. We were going to hold off on the paperback until next year, and then when we realized the hardcover was going to take so long to print, we decided to go paperback. And as the book gains in popularity, we'll be able to pre-print more hardcovers and get those delivering faster. So if you're somebody that wants to collect a hardcover and certainly bring that to an event that we will start doing where I can sign it, I'll be happy to do that. But I really do recommend the paperback. I think it's the way to go for most people. Thank you again for watching, and I will see you, if not sooner. I think we are going to be on live No, we're not going to be on this Thursday night. I'm sorry. If you're watching this in real time, we're not doing Claim Your Power this week because I'm going to a Christmas party. But I will be back next Tuesday for another edition of TYA Talk. Thank you so much for watching.